novelty stuff to get your car in the air, whether it's ramps or axle stands. I've got my fuel filter tray to catch the fuel in. So I replaced the little bit of vacuum line that goes onto the front of the fuel filter. It's about 8mm wide, the diameter of the pipe, with the inside hole probably about 3 or 4mm diameter. Yeah, you probably 2 or 3 inches of that. The fuel hose, I was going to replace the little sort of 8cm, 3 inches or so, whatever they are, at the end of the fuel pipe, but I didn't actually do it. But if you were gonna, you'd probably want something like about somewhere between, I don't know, I'd get a couple of different sizes, but you're probably looking at about somewhere between 8 and 12mm fuel hose. But yeah, it's hard to say because I didn't actually end up replacing them. I've got a selection of clips. The one that I replaced was one of these, I think, the 13 to 15mm clips. Knife, just to cut the length of pipe that you need. You got a ratchet spanner with probably a 3 or 4 inch extension, and then I've got some deep sockets. You don't need the deep 10 so much, but you do need the deep 8 one, as I mentioned in the video anyway. Screwdriver, just a flathead screwdriver, and that's it really. Oh, and gloves. You probably want to go through a few pairs of gloves. So you've got 3 8mm bolts to take out, and you've got 2 nuts to take off, which, so there's your front brace thing that sits just behind the engine and the gearbox, and then the cover of the fuel filter sort of curves up towards the gearbox, and there's 2, it's a bit dark, there's 2 nuts you've got to take off, which fasten the cover to the chassis. You're going to want some you're going to need a deep 8mm socket for these, because the thread sticks out quite a lot. You could do it with a spanner, but you'll be turning you'll be turning like a 20th of a turn every time and taking it off. So yeah, get a deep socket for those 2 nuts. So there's the cover off. There's just that bracket holding the fuel filter on. That's a 10mm nut. The bracket just takes a bit of wiggling and it comes off. So you can see there's 2 lines going into the back of the fuel filter, and oh, it's really cramped under. There's 1 line going in the middle there, and then there's a vacuum line going into the front as well. So what I'm going to do, because I tried to do this before, but I thought I would buy some fuel line before I finished it. So before I undid the front, so I know that comes off. So what I'm going to do, this line comes off pretty easy. Like that, yeah. The vacuum line comes off pretty easy. I'll just hook that up there out the way. So this is just like little kind of Jubilee clip things that you undo with a screwdriver. So I'm going to take off, so you've got your metal, or plastic I think it is, your plastic fuel line, and then you've got this section of rubber fuel line which has got a clip on either end. So I'm going to undo the one nearest the fuel filter. Fuel's going to want to run out from this pipe, so I'm going to plug it straight into the new fuel filter, and then I'm going to take, because the fuel filter comes, I don't know whether you can see the other one on the floor, it comes with, I'll try and grab it, it comes with little plastic covers. So as you undo stuff, you can stick those plastic covers on the old fuel filter to stop too much fuel coming out. You should be able to just plug straight into the new fuel filter. So last time I felt like the rear fuel hoses didn't want to come off. And you can see that whether it's too dark. So I bought some fuel hose to replace that if I need to cut it off. So we'll start on the front bit. Unfortunately I can't film while I'm doing it because the car, although it's up on axle stands, it's just nowhere near high enough for me to try and film. It's barely a couple inches above my chest, so yeah, ideally you want to get it as high as you can, but mine was already up, so I thought I'd try and struggle through. Okay, so there's the front fuel hose off the filter. To make it easier, you should, where are we? There's that clip and the one that's just in front. Put that back. So there's that clip and this one, which the fuel pipe fits in. So if it just pings out, if you pull it out, it gives you a bit more slack to work with. I've undone the Jubilee clip, which is nearest the fuel filter. I'll just let that drain out. There's not a whole lot of fuel in that pipe, and I've just chucked the cap off the new fuel filter on the old one, just to stop any fuel coming out of that. I don't imagine there'd be masses. I don't know. Might as well stick it on as soon as I got it. So now I'm gonna do the rear two. Hopefully they come off. Oh yeah, when you undo the Jubilee clip, you're turning loads, because on the I'll show you on the new one. So where the pipe fits on, it gets wider at the end. So you undo it enough to get it moving, but as soon as that Jubilee clip lines up with the end bit, you have to turn it. You have to open it out loads and loads. So I just open it out as much as you can, and it'll come off nice and easy then. Okay, there's the fuel filter off. Just gotta make sure you reconnect the. Well, I presume you've got to make sure you connect the two rear pipes the right way around, so they sort of hold their shape. So you can see, so they don't really move. You just got to pay attention, because on the front you'll notice the vacuum line points towards the right hand side of the car. So when you put the new fuel filter on, make sure the vacuum line sort of points to the right side of the car, points towards the gearbox. Then the two at the back should be the right way around. I was going to change the small length of fuel hose on the end of the pipes, but the Jubilee clips, these ones here, the ones I haven't undone, look like they're all worn away, so I can't bring myself to try and get them undone. So I'm going to continue using the little bits of hose that are already there at the front and the back. So it's going to stick the new fuel filter on, connect the vacuum line back up. So if you ever do any painting, keep the trays, the roller trays, ideal for this kind of job to catch the fuel in. Same when you're doing like brake hoses and things like that. Quite handy. Okay, so there's a new filter on. I've replaced the flexible bit on the end of the vacuum line because it was just falling apart. If you just rubbed it, it just broke apart. So I thought it was due for some fresh stuff. Remember to clip your fuel pipes back into the two clips. I'm not going to put the cover on yet. I'm just going to start it up, check there's no leaks, and then I'll put the bracket back on and the cover.